Hey, welcome to Roll for Crit. I'm Will Keeler.
I'm Jonathan Estes. This is a big show. We have a lot of things to get to and talk about today. So the one thing that we are not going to do today is waste any time.
Let's take a moment of silence to think about that statement. Anyway.
That was about good. So, of course, that's because this week is Essen, Spiel, one of the biggest conventions in all of board gamedom over in Germany. We will get to all that later, but first there is one piece of news that we're going to start off with concerning Wizards of the Coast and Hex Shards of Fate, the digital card game. If you may remember.
I love that, Porky Pig. But if you recall, the Wizards of the Coast brought a lawsuit to Cryptozoic for their Hex game for having too many similarities with the Magic the Gathering game, which we did talk about last time, and how there were two cards which I agreed in Wizards' favor. I mean, they literally were the same.
It was pretty close. That was actually, I think that was one of our very first things we ever talked about.
About a year
at least. And these that's what happens with these things. So it turns out they reached a settlement in court. Wizards is happy, and Hex Shards of Fate is going to be allowed to continue.
Probably change some card words, I'm guessing. And
well, that's the thing. We don't, the settlement basically happened behind closed doors, and they have not released the details to the public. So we don't. I don't know if we'll see. We'll see yet when we'll see how those cards have changed. I assume they probably just paid them a bunch of money.
Well, that's what I'm guessing. They changed a few of them. Like I said, there was probably a mixture on both ends. There are probably some that Wizard did overreach on. There are some, like the ones I recall, which are, I wouldn't, if you did not give me the names, I would think they're the same card.
Right.
So I'm guessing just change some of those. I do definitely agree with you. There probably were some
there had to be something,
some
yeah.
penalty.
We'll let you off the hook this time.
Yeah, and I think Wizards of the Coast, they're so busy with their things. There's no reason to get too much into this as long as Cryptozoic changes their system.
Right.
Because like we've said so many times, when it comes to trading card games, Magic the Gathering really does have the cornerstone.
It's got a stranglehold on.
It's really
on
hard.
The base mechanics.
Not even just base mechanics. Just the idea of breaking out into other ones. That's why I feel like I've seen so many different trading card games come and go. And outside of, I would argue, Magic the Gathering and maybe Pokemon, Yu-Gi-Oh, or ones that have a following in another country, it's impossible to. They don't last long.
We'll see if Hex Shards of Fate.
Well, that's digital. We don't know. Digital's a whole
That's true. It's another realm entirely. Well, that's up now. You can read the press release. We'll put a link, or you can play Shards of Fate if you want. It's up there. We haven't tried it. Have you tried it?
No,
we haven't tried it. But if there's any lawyers out there who actually know, who might have more insight into how this thing works, let us know.
Yeah, I'd definitely like to hear more about it.
So that's the big news story. Of course, now we are going to talk about some of the games that are going to be coming out at Essen this year.
Yeah, and there were a lot.
There are a lot of games. We just picked a pretty small list.
Right. We also really didn't pick, at least not that I could, at least from the ones I picked. There are plenty of Kickstarters, ones I backed, that will be coming out there, but we didn't bring them up because probably I've already talked about them on the show, or you've talked about them.
Or we will in the future.
Or maybe even playback or something. So those will probably not be mentioned, even though we could be very excited for them.
But we're probably going to hit all the big guns. And some of these are ones we've talked about before, so we won't get into them too much. For instance, our first one is Pandemic Legacy. Of course.
Really, it's like the one everyone's been talking about, I feel like, for...
Yeah, we all know what this is. Everyone's extremely excited for it, as are we. But there's not a lot to say about it.
I definitely feel, though, a part of our excitement has come from not, just playing, not Pandemic, but playing Risk Legacy.
Yeah, recently. Definitely.
Which we played, actually, over the weekend.
We've had
a lot of
chocolate
fun.
and we've had peanut butter, and we're ready to mix them.
Yeah, I think that's also because we're really excited to have one city just get wiped off the map.
Yeah,
but I don't think there's much else to say besides. And there are two different boxes, but isn't it just international and something?
I think they're just different colors. I don't think there's actually it's not like Pokemon or something. There's no, you don't have to worry about being left out.
Pokemon Legacy.
There you go. I think that's Pokemon. It changes anyway. Covering all the big names first. So next up we have Seven Wonders Duel, another one you've probably heard a lot about. It's the 2-player version of Seven Wonders, which is definitely interesting because Seven Wonders is pretty much not a 2-player game.
Well,
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not surprised in a way because it is one of the. If you have a big title like Pandemic, I'm not surprised you're going to try to milk it for what it's worth. We haven't played Babel yet, which I really want to do first before.
Right.
And I don't know. It's not. I mean, I'm very curious. I want to try it, but it's also I'm fine not having a 2-player version of it. So I'm very curious to see what will make me draw to want to play the 2-player version 7 Wonders.
Yeah, well, I guess there's some kind of thing in this where when you draft, you also you cover old cards up with new ones, so then someone can try to, if you want to take that card, you have to take the one on top of the pile first. It does something, obviously to tweak it, because otherwise the mechanics would be. But yeah, the other thing is that how many 2-player games do we have that we never play? So, unfortunately. But if you're a 7 Wonders fan, I'm sure it makes sense. I mean, it's a good idea for a game.
Yeah, I'm not saying it's bad.
Right.
It's one of those things. It's like there's certain things we've talked about how we're just sort of happy with.
Yeah, right. Speaking of things we're happy with that are coming out with 2-player versions, perfect timing. It's Tail Feathers, based on the Mice and Mystics series. This one is more like a battle mode version of that game.
Right. So this isn't as much of a 2-player remake of Mice and Mystics. It's a 2-player game that takes place in the world of Mice and Mystics.
Right. Yeah. It'll have the same kind of atmosphere, but there's no chapters, at least as far as not to the same extent.
Though I
certainly.
think you can play Mice and Mystics 2-player.
That's true, but
this is combative.
This
right?
is a duel, yeah,
right.
like that. Yeah, you're fighting each other, and you can actually, if you have Mice and Mystics, some of those components will be compatible with this actually.
Vice versa, though, or just?
I'm not sure. Probably, I'm not sure.
That'd be very interesting to see. I mean, I'm very excited about it. It looked really cool. I mean, have you seen the whole leaf spinning?
You're talking about it.
Yeah,
it sounded awesome.
There's actually a little thin stick it comes with, and there are leaves, because you're fighting in the air. And if your character's on a leaf, you can actually use the stick that's holes on each end to spin. It'll tell you how, movement-wise, so you can go to branch by floating on the leaf.
I love it. It's like Crouching Tiger. It sounds cool. So Tail Feathers. Great Plaid Hat. They always make great stuff.
Look at all the other, even excluding all the games, just Mice and Mystic games. I mean, they definitely each time I feel like would try to make an innovative approach.
They put the work in.
The last one, the snake had it coils up and then strikes out. This has the leaf. They want to make their games interactive in a different way, which is always why I think one of the reasons we've loved a lot of their games.
Yeah, and same lead designer as Mice and Mystics, so it carries over. All right, next up we had planes, we had trains. Now we have automobiles.
About time.
Yeah, this will be the game.
Right.
Excited?
We played planes, in which I enjoyed it a lot because I thought it was sort of strategy, but a lot of randomness and silliness.
No, I did like planes. It took me a while to wrap my head around how it worked.
Yeah, no, it's definitely
There's a lot of future planning required, but I don't even know because Trains is a deck building game. Yeah, they're all totally different.
And I won't lie. I wanted this because I want.
It's the only reason you want it. You just want to be able to say, look, I have planes, trains, and automobiles.
Of course I do. But unfortunately, the Trains game I own is from the black box, so I won't be able to actually put them next to each other.
We'll figure something out for you. Of course, now we've got some expansions. There's some big expansions coming out, starting with the new Kemet edition, Ta Seti.
Yeah, we've played this, and it's been very interesting.
The base.
Yes, the base. Of course, sorry, I should mention. And if you don't know, I would call this sort of like the brother of Cyclades.
It seems that way, certainly to us.
Yes. And Cyclades has had 2 expansions, but this one sort of has been untouched. But we've
it's newer. It's also newer than Cyclades.
But we've seen it's been very popular. So I'm very excited to see them finally come out with an expansion.
It has new tiles and I think some other new mechanics, like a new game mode or something. So it should be pretty cool. Kemet is pretty awesome. And then there's an expansion coming up for another game we really like, Abyss.
Oh yeah, this one I'm really excited about.
Yeah.
So apparently the way this one works is there's pretty much they're introducing the black market. There are black pearls that are worth more. But bad things are happening if you're caught with them and stuff. I don't know just how that's gonna work.
Well, it's called the Kraken. So
yeah, I think that they're sort of the mafia kind of they're so there'll be bad guys, so to speak.
Interesting.
So I think that's actually really good because if you think about this game's all about the politics of this Undercity world, and if you think about real world politics, you're dealing with the good and the bad. So it makes sense that you could have the choice to reach into sort of the blood money.
So they're basically adding a how many, sixth lord or whatever it is, or sixth
I haven't been,
race.
that I actually wasn't sure about if they were like a sixth race or whether it's like
a separate
like
section.
dark versions of them or something. But I think that sounds really cool. It actually already makes sense. I mean, I remember we were using some of the cards were like this is the slaver.
Right.
Like,
there's some dark stuff in that game.
so,
It's
I mean,
Abyss.
Yeah, and
It
we've
gets dark.
enjoyed the game a lot. So I think this is really cool, and really excited to get my hands on.
More expansions coming
Yeah.
for Cult Express.
Oh, this one actually I was surprised about.
Yeah, horses and stagecoaches. Now there's a little horse and stagecoach figure, and you can actually jump between the train and the stagecoach and go back and forth.
Watch now where you place the cactuses and the other things comes with actually matter now because you can run into them.
I just hope there's more useless cactuses and skulls. I just want to set up my scene for no reason and then move on to something else.
I'm very curious to think because I mean we've talked about Cult Express compared to the other Spiel winners and how our opinions on it. I'm wondering what would I want in the expansion to bring itself.
Definitely, I mean that's definitely a game that could use a little complication.
Yes, but I don't know
In
what.
a good way. Yeah. So yeah, I don't know. I'm sure there's different cards that affect the stagecoach,
Right.
but we'll see how exactly it heightens things.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, this should be exciting. Here's one that I think will make you unhappy.
Oh boy.
Which is the Study in Emerald, the second edition.
Oh, I already knew about this.
Yeah. So of course, so you have the first edition.
Yes.
And
Well,
sadly,
apparently there are some mistakes and stuff. So
supposedly it's a bit of a
rework.
slog.
Yeah.
Like it's a heavy game for sure.
yeah, every time
And
I
it's out
tried
of print.
doing it and learning it, it's one of those things when I learn a game and try to bring it, then there's never time for.
So I don't know. Do you, I thought you would be bummed because you're like, oh, I bought this first edition
I
for
mean,
no
yeah,
reason.
I'm bummed a bit, but there's worse things that could happen.
Right.
I mean, he's making it better.
I actually think the box art looks way better on this one.
I'm not like there are worse things that
pretty
can
cool.
happen.
Yeah.
It's cool to store on my shelf. Then I mean, it's not like
You got the collector's
Yeah,
items.
it'd be worse if you got a game and then got destroyed somehow. Because this is like I still have it.
Yeah. It's not obsolete necessarily.
And I like the artwork on the old one too. I mean, the new one's cool too, but
Yeah.
So I mean, it's a downer, but it's not like the worst thing in the world.
We'll see. It should be cool. I mean, it's the theme is so cool.
And
You
let's be honest,
need to get to it.
I'll still get it.
Yeah, of course. You can't help yourself.
I mean, it's Sherlock and Cthulhu. It's like two of my top things.
We got speaking of licenses that you can't help yourself from. We've got Adventure Time, Adventures in the Land
Well,
of
actually-
Ooh.
My brother's the one who has copyright on all that stuff because he gets L before I can.
Well, we'll
But
knock him out.
Yeah, this one I did think was interesting because all the other times I can imagine Adventure Time because we were talking about this earlier. It's not been Adventure Time. It's been Adventure Time Love Letter or Monopoly. Like it was, tagged on to Munchkin, an already useful property. This is just its own game, which I'm very interested in because video game wise, we've played 2 of them. And one of them we found to be a very big letdown, while the other has been, I thought, was one of my favorite 3DS games I've played in a while.
I really enjoyed it, although there was room for.
No, there's room, but I mean in terms of
Yes.
a game. So I would love to see also if the creators, dip their
Right.
fingers in here like Portal. I didn't
Right.
read if they did that or not. I would hope they would,
yeah.
because they seem to be the kind of people who would.
Pendleton Ward.
Yes.
He'll add some flavor to it. Yeah, I'm definitely curious because I mean I always want for any license I usually want. I always say the Fantasy Flight version of that, like as opposed to the spin-off. Like, oh, what if you're Jake? It was like a bluffing game. Like I want you're Jake and I'm Finn and someone's we're all like on an adventure and a quest. I want the full package.
What I want from this is I want the game to be like the show, in the sense is it looks like it's made for children, but as an adult you can get just as much.
Well, I think they recognize that the appeal is there. So I don't think they're like we've already seen with Card Wars. That's not a kids game. I don't think they're going to skew too young. At least I would assume not. Doesn't seem like it.
So well, I'm excited either way for or high hopes, I should say.
Yeah, another license coming up is Metro, based on the video games, which are based on a book, Metro 2033.
You actually are reading the books, if I recall.
If by reading you mean has been on my desk for 6 months, then yes, I am currently reading it. There's a couple.
Yes. I've played the second game. I didn't know there was a first. But you've played both of them?
Yeah, I love those games. Are great.
No, yeah,
Fantastic.
I really enjoyed playing the first one. I mean, I have a couple of small issues, but like I said, they're small. But the board game, I think it's perfect.
Yeah, I know.
I think it makes perfect sense.
I mean, I'm sure they could do some fun things with the subway theme, with like going down different paths and monsters. I'm pretty sure there is a Metro game that exists. I don't know. I could be mixing it up. Maybe it's this one, but I'm pretty sure there is already one. And this is like a new one or a sequel. I'm not sure.
Well, either way, I think it works. I think theme-wise, it's a perfect theme because I mean, while there is a story, like I said, based on books, I think this is something you could either follow the story or do something somewhere else without being too weird.
Well, I mean, the best thing about the games is not the plot per se; it's the atmosphere and the background.
Exactly. Yes.
Yeah, that's really.
And that's why I think
great.
it would do a really, really good job.
Yeah.
So
definitely. Metro. Next up, we got Time Stories. Now, this one is pretty cool. It's got some hype behind it. Time travel game, sort of sounds tragedy looper-esque. But more of I think it's fully cooperative, and it's time travel.
Now, is this the one?
I believe this is the one where there's multiple like games set for the future that are expansions, but they're also like games. But this box does come. It has a game in it. It's a full game.
But so this is the one we were talking with one of our distributors earlier, where it's sort of like this is like. They described it as a console.
I believe
each
so.
Game,
although I don't know how heavily they're leaning on that now. That may have been the base concept.
No, like I said, I think that's what I meant. Like as a metaphor. My biggest issue and worry is because each of these packs, the expansion packs, costs $30 suggested retail price. And from the sound of it, it sounds like it'll be like almost a one playthrough kind of deal.
I don't know. It's like I said, it's hard. From when I looked at it, it sounds like it's meatier than we thought when we first heard about it.
I would hope so. That's what I'm saying. It's
and like I said, that's just the concept sounds really great. And
that's why I like the concept.
Yeah.
And I think that's cool. I just want the price to match what I get.
Yeah, and I think
for $30, I think either
people are going to catch on pretty quick if it doesn't. So I think they'll.
I'm gonna be
a benefit
a
of
bit
the
more
doubt.
positive. Yeah, like I think one of the things they could do just a simple thing in the packs. If it's even just has like if it's very heavy story related. If it's something like Mansion of Madness, in which yes, there's 5 scenarios, but each scenario has the person answering different questions, which makes it different.
Right. There's
like it's not. I think it's like we've seen it happen. It's quite easy to make replay value with the same story. And we've seen it with video games, board games, so it's possible. I just hope the price reflects it.
We're getting all businessy up in here. That's Time Stories. Looks like fun. Next up, we've got this one, Perfect Alibi. I just wanted to talk about this because of that awesome cover.
Oh yeah, no, I remember when you just showed it to me. I was like, oh wow.
Yeah, it looks so. I mean, it's a deduction game. It's a mystery.
Well, it already sounds like a bar.
Yeah, you're trying to solve the murder and everything. I don't know like really how it plays that well, but that's enough for me. And with the art style and the theme, just seems really cool. We love those kind of games.
Oh yeah.
And then after that, we got one that you picked out, The Producers.
Yeah, this sounds
or singular. Sorry, what's this one about?
Well, in essence, you're a producer during the years 1940 to 1944, and the whole point is you'll need to get points for awards from your actors and from your movies. And while I'm probably the one who has seen the least amount of movies among all of us, like this definitely interests me, and I really would like to play it with you guys too, because I can see this be the kind of game when you're playing with someone who knows about movies.
I'm sorry if you already said this. Does it actually use like the names of those movies, or is it like?
No, I didn't see anything.
It's probably like you're making your own kind of thing. But
I mean, there could be things like I know for a producer, Ivan, I'm sure he could be playing like like the way this happened in the year 1941, like this movie.
Might have a poster that looks like a.
And I think that could be really cool, and maybe they could actually get actual licensing. I don't know copyright rules, because things get weird the farther back you go. I think it could have a lot of potential to be a lot of really cool and fun games.
It is a cool theme, just that, the like real old Hollywood kind of thing. That's how they talked back then. Old Hollywood. I'm a producer. Next up, in Italy. Next up, along the same lines a little bit, Shakespeare. This is from Ustari, the guys who did, Sherlock Holmes and Consulting Detective and other popular games. This one is, you're all putting on a Shakespeare play, and it's like you're working together. There's a little stage.
Are you all Shakespeare, or is there like?
No, you're like somebody's. It's like your control performers and writer or stuff like that. You're not all Shakespeare. It's a different timeline. You're cloned Shakespeare. I wanted it to be another deduction game where you try to figure out who actually wrote those plays.
Well, I was about to say, who gets to play the role of actually writing it?
Yeah, we don't know. But anyway, that's Shakespeare. It sounds cool. Check that out. And
this is another one.
A couple more. Yeah, what's this one?
This is Advarium Academy. Pretty much you're all like sort of the top kids in like a Magic Academy, and you have to you're battling out for... It's all like a battle royale, but not as violent-y. It's like dealing with the popular kids.
So it's like Hogwarts meets battle royale.
Yes, I would say that's sort of like that, but not with the killing as much as like it's a tournament kind of style. And I thought it looked really cool. Looked really nice.
Sounds like a. Yeah, go ahead.
It's one of those things I just like to. I like to see what's like. I don't know. It could be bad or really good. But something that just caught my eye is different.
Makes me think of Argent, although I'm sure that it's nothing like it.
Well, yes, I could be like that, but the difference is I think Argent was I feel like it was more about politics, because the idea is you're supposed to be trying to sneak away.
This one's more about magic.
Well, this one's more about the actual combat itself, so I think it's more like you'll be literally fighting each other, not just, I'm going to send my friends there, and they're going to
in your face.
Yes.
That's how Wizards talk. And I think, we actually have two more. The second to last one, Aquapark.
This one just sounded really fun because you're building an aquatic park, and made me laugh because it made me think of Blackfish. So I hope there could be like event cards that'd be like, the orca attacks someone.
Yeah, it's a little. Well, this is in the future, it's not going to be ethical for the parks anymore. You'll have to play the board game to experience it. It should come with a little squirt gun. And you have like a little water you splash into your face.
No, that's the Cash and Guns Summer Edition.
That's a good idea. Good idea. One more that I think will be up your alley. It's called Raptor.
Yeah, I did not see this. You're the one who found this.
Yeah, it's from well-known designers, the same Feduti and Bruno Cathala, the same guys who work together on Abyss, as well as a lot of other projects. Bruno Cathala's name is everywhere, 5 Tribes, other things.
Everywhere.
Raptor, you're going around, you're like trying to capture raptors and stuff. I don't know. Look at that box.
Play as blue?
Yeah, that exactly. It's like perfect timing for that. It's all raptor based. I don't even think there's other dinosaurs in it. I think it's just raptors. So they went conservative.
Well, you know me. If there's something that has dinosaur on it, I'm probably gonna grab it. Hence why I have some of the shittiest dinosaur games over there.
So that's probably gonna be a safe bet to check out and buy whenever it comes out here. So there's a lot more. We'll put a link to Board Game Geek as a list.
It's hard to go through that. And I remember when I was going through, I just had I have all these tabs. I don't think I can talk about, and this is before, not including his list.
Right.
I don't think I had anything on the tabs I opened were ones that you already had.
Well, I covered the big hitters, so
but I mean, even then, there were maybe a couple I saw on
there's plenty there to see.
But all the ones I opened were not. I think it was 600.
Yeah, at least. So that's that Essen begins Thursday, October 8th, and goes throughout the weekend. So probably next week. I don't know if we'll spend too much time because we won't be able to go and actually get hands-on, but if there's any real other cool news that breaks...
We'll put up a fake green screen and pretend we're there.
That sounds good, yeah.
Look, we're at Essen!
But we did have, in case you weren't tired of us talking about games that aren't out yet, one Kickstarter Pickstarter to bring you today.
Yeah.
And what is it, sir?
It is...
the 7th continent.
Yes, I forgot the
I could tell right away.
But the 7th continent sounds really cool, and... it has just gone way over its, I haven't looked at the stretch goals, but it's probably hit a bunch because it went way past its initial goal. In essence, you are an explorer. You're famous. You have found this 7th continent, and, you're famous for finding it. But turns out that continent is a bit cursed.
Well, here's my question. Aren't there 7 continents?
Well, I think it's supposed to be back in the past.
Oh,
so
okay.
it's as if you, I think it's the capture the spirit as if you were back
Because
then.
I was afraid I forgot I was like, wait. Shouldn't it be the 8th continent? But anyway.
So you have to go back there and explore to find out.
You're kind of it's like a tile laying, right?
Yes. And it looked really cool because it sort of reminded me a lot of Robinson Crusoe, in which you're all trying to explore and survive together. In which you actually have one of the cool things is you have a deck with all these items and stuff and abilities, and that's where you get your powers to help survive. But the thing is, the more you use that deck, the more chances you're going to become exhausted. So I think, and then there's also a lot of tiles will be like plant life, and you might be able to research the plant life to use it to your benefit and stuff. And of course, there's weird creatures and temples and magic.
So there's some deep lore going on.
So I think it looked like a really fun and sort of just exploring game. It's like sort of a choose your own adventure, I think was how it's described.
Yeah.
Now, one thing I didn't catch,
there's no dice in this.
Right.
That's their big thing. There's a lot of, but you're making choices regardless.
And I mean, all when we played Tales of Arabia, we loved that. We thought that was cool. But you caught this. I did not. There's actually a save feature.
Not really. Yeah, that was what I thought was crazy. You can save your game in this. It is for 1 to 5 players. Mm-hmm. So if you're playing with more than one person, you all have to be on the same space to save. It's like you have to reach a save point, probably so you can remember where you were. But yeah, they have a method for storing the cards and putting everything away so that you can just pick up where you left off.
No, that is amazing.
If only every game had that.
Well, no, because any big game, I remember one of the reasons I've loved playing single player Arkham is I would play on a table down here, and then when I'm done, I would just walk away from it, and then I'd come back the next day. So I'd still get the full Arkham experience without having to worry of trying to fit within the time constraints of a game night.
Definitely. Yeah.
So I think this is perfect for this kind of game. That means, especially for a choose your own adventure, that means they don't have to be like, okay, how can we shorten this game to fit in one night? They can make up really weird, long scenarios or something.
Yeah, it's true.
So I think that's a huge...
Less restriction, for better or worse, we'll find out.
We'll see how the save function actually works, but I think this is a huge step. If this works well, I think other big games, probably all produced by Fantasy Flight, heavy themed games, could actually then take that next step to become much longer games, but still be able to have people.
It would be cool, yeah. Definitely, it's definitely something you got to plan for.
You know who actually would work well with this too? Legacy games. I think this is sort of a branch off of Legacy.
Yeah, Legacy almost is a save game.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. I think that's why I think these two things, Legacy and this, not exactly Legacy, but saving games, I think are both things that
campaign games, more or less.
But I think it's different.
Right.
So you can choose to not. They can make these weird long ones. So.
But either way, even without the save, it seems like a cool game. The 7th Continent, you can check it out. It's on Kickstarter now.
Mm-hmm.
Now we had a few more things that we wanted to get to. How are we doing on time? All right, we're at about 30 minutes.
It's been about 2 years.
So why don't we let's cover? You want to cover what we played, and
I think so.
We'll get to some stuff next week. We got some other discussions to get to.
Mm-hmm.
So the first one that we got to play, which we recently talked about, that and its Kickstarter, we finally got a chance to actually try it out, is Secrets of the Lost Tomb.
Yes, and I really enjoyed it a lot. We played. The way you played with the base and all the, they're called tile expansions, so it was sort of not really new stuff, just some new tiles in there. In fact, we ran into the signature tile of one of the sets, the lair of the sandworm.
Oh, yes.
Right off the bat, which is hilarious. But in the game, because of all the games I'm used to, I set us up for an easy game because it was the first time learning, even though this is very similar to a lot of games we played.
This is, in case just briefly, if you haven't heard us talking about it, it's sort of like a Betrayal at House on the Hill, but fully cooperative and set in an ancient temple Egypt setting. Depending on
it was a bit more Egypt because we were playing the Pharaoh with the Blue Eyes, which is the one they suggested for the first time.
Mm-hmm. So as you said, you tried to make it an easy game for us.
And it turned out it was actually really easy for us.
It was too easy.
But now that's a good sign, though. What that means is this game can adjust from super easy for people if we were playing with people who'd never played a game, really any board games before, and we can probably hike it up to make it unbelievably difficult.
We underestimated our own abilities.
Yes. Granted, we ran into some really annoying things.
You see that box and you think,
that's the other thing.
We better go easy.
I really like that. And the other thing I'd like, though, is we hit through maybe a a quarter of all the tiles, which is
yeah.
a good sign because that means there's a very good chance we'll never see that sandworm for probably another 2 gameplay.
And also, what's cool is because of the like the symbols in the corner, depending on the scenario, lots of different events can happen in the same rooms. So even if you see a tile you've seen before, something new might trigger there, which is pretty cool. Yeah, it was fun.
We also did play. I'm very curious. I want to ask about this.
Are we moving to the next game? Oh no,
no, just a
sorry.
One character we played with because they all had stats up and down was like perfect stats all across.
Yeah, was it? Well, first of all, there were a lot of. Now you have like every expansion that was available on that Kickstarter, so there are many characters to choose from.
But actually, most of them work from the base.
Really? Yeah. So there's a lot of
like
stuff.
While I have all of them, what you saw was mostly base. Like the other stuff.
Yeah, really, I mean, I don't think I saw hardly any treble.
Like I know you saw the boxes of all the expansions. most of that was like maybe a couple new villains and monsters for scenarios. Like they gave me scenario books, not actually like it wasn't like 20 new tiles, maybe a couple new tiles that make sense for the rooms. 2 or more characters.
That's cool, yeah.
So really, the base set comes with almost everything you saw.
Yeah.
And what I also like is that box actually fit it all.
Yeah, that's a plus.
Relatively well.
Better.
No, it actually fits it really
Considering
well.
how big it is.
Like after you left, I just flipped it like the side over and like cut one part, and now I have like a box that fits just the tiles. Like so, it really is a nice game. I'm really glad we got a chance to play it.
Yeah, and definitely want to revisit for sure. So, the Secrets of the Lost Tomb, fun. We talked about the expansion and the expansion, which is on Kickstarter. You can also get the base.
Right.
So if you want to check it
Epic
out.
Store. So if you want to get even harder.
That's the way to go.
So now that we played this, now what do you think about hearing about these epic modes? Like.
I still think they could have.
I mean, no, I'm not talking about.
But I mean, yeah.
You can see like.
I have no qualms with it.
Yeah.
You gotta bring them on. All right, we played. We're going to talk about one other game that we played, which might hit a bit of a sore spot.
For some.
Some. It's called Eclipse. If you haven't heard of it, it's pretty popular.
It's number 10 on Board Game Geek's list.
Yeah, but based on Geek Rankings.
Yes.
User ratings.
That will be a conversation for another time.
I think we have touched on that before a little bit. But Eclipse, so it's a spacefaring game. This would be what we call one of those 4X games. Am I wrong? Expand.
Oh, yes.
Explore, yes. Execute, and the other one.
Yes, the other one. No, that's
explain.
Actually yes.
Yeah, explain. That should be a 5X. They're usually you spend a lot of time explaining. So this wasn't the first time we've played this.
No,
we played this before.
This was my second. And
it was
your third?
either my third. I feel like fourth, but I think I always just imagined there was another time. It's just that the game goes on so long. I think
you
it's
feel like you
more
played it
than
twice.
And we played it with 4 players, and this is usually a game that we look at and say, well, we're not playing that.
Yeah, it's our joke.
It's like it's become like on the same lines of Arkham Horror, where it's just like we don't want to spend 6 hours right now.
Yes.
So no, put that away, or Dominant Species or something like that.
I think the difference though,
yeah.
I think Arkham really is its brother in that kind of like Dominant Species. I think we just haven't touched on. Like we don't usually bring it up. It's just because we've played that one a lot more than both of them.
Yeah, that's an older for us.
Yes.
We've had that a lot longer.
But I think the big issue comparing the two, and it's where I think some columns are going to come up, is Arkham is cooperative. So usually, whether you fail or pass together, you're all like, well, we're in the same boat. This game, particularly this game, you just were having a miserable time.
I didn't do well.
No, because I just explored next to you, and I happened to get tiles that closed you off from entering my area, and got resources to just pretty much research everything.
Which is the smart play. Like there was nothing.
Well, it wasn't even like I was.
Right.
I wasn't trying to.
When he drew tiles, it was random.
Right, and I wasn't trying to coach you as much as I was feeling like I was weak, so I was scared of you killing me.
No, and I think at least for me, that's what my strategy would always be: is I don't want anyone else getting in here. You want to block yourself off. But yeah, once you did that, every tile that I drew, I mean, which again, it's not really. It's just the randomness of the tile stack.
Right.
But
what didn't help was seeing everyone else, and then when the person who owns the game, who's
shall go nameless,
was telling you how you should have like gone bankrupt in order to.
And this is the like we said, at least the third time I've played this. Mm-hmm. So it's not like I feel like I get worse at it every time I play. It should be the opposite. But yeah, there's this whole like I never had enough resources to take more actions. Basically, the way it works, you have actions. The more actions you take, the more money you have to pay. The more money you have to pay, the less actions you can take. So you have to manage this whole economy. And which to me, I feel like I'm doing my taxes or something. It's like I don't enjoy that part of it at all, and that's a lot of it.
Yes, and let's not. The other big issue was I think someone got to the center of and beat the center dreadnought.
There's a big boss in the middle.
3 hours in.
Yeah, at least.
And that was end of round 4 out of 8.
There's is it 8 or
yes, we were halfway.
9?
We were halfway. And we were having, I think it was something that really pissed you off. We were playing with someone who was taking.
Yeah, our friend Neil is probably watching this. Yeah. Sorry, Neil, but sometimes we tease him because that whole analysis paralysis thing can happen. And in this game, it can happen.
No, like you said, you're doing taxes.
But the problem is, because the less that I could do, the faster my turns were. And the longer everyone else's turns were. So I become even more frustrated because I'm sitting there for it's like 10 minutes stretch, and then finally it's my turn, and I'm just like, I'm going to buy this. Next, 10 minutes later. So not only I'm bored as well as not doing well, as well as, so, I was talking about, I don't think this is a bad game. I think it's in fact a very well thought out, well designed. There's obviously a lot of things at play here, although I have a minor gripes with, like we said, the randomness of the tiles, but most of that can be mitigated. But it's just not one that I really enjoy that much. Certainly not with. I think you really have to have an experienced group so that the game doesn't drag, which it always seems to for us. But I don't know. Sorry. It's a top 10 game of all time, Eclipse.
And not on your top 10.
Not on my list. It's just not. The other thing with Arkham I was saying is that you're right on about the co-op aspect, but it's also obviously far more thematic. The space theme I feel like I should love. Going out, I'm in a spaceship, I get it, I'm building ships up. But
there's no
art style doesn't do a lot for me. There's no like flavor text. There's no the ships are cool.
This is definitely while there's randomness, this is definitely a Euro game.
Very much so.
You could blindfold me. I was not thinking about exploring ships. I was thinking about numbers.
How many more dice do I get or whatever? Yeah, you don't. It's not like you're exploring a planet. And for me to appreciate a game like that, it has to be the best. Like mechanics I really like to overcome a lack of theme, and I didn't feel that. The other thing, and I think you were alluding to it, was how by the end, really the first part of the game, you're building up, you're exploring, it's kind of cool, and then it just becomes this thing of who's going to attack who first, and at that point you can usually tell at least one person has way better stuff than everyone else, so it just feels like almost inevitable as to how things are going to go. Like there's really like a time bomb, but there's a time limit as to how fast you can build up before it's just too late for you.
Well, it becomes, though I didn't see it. Apparently, I would have been the winner.
Yeah,
because I don't like the aggressive.
Right. That's the other thing is most of the games.
I'm the turtler.
No, that's me. Like I almost never will strike first. I want to be friends with people usually.
Well, no, mostly when I play, if I'm going to strike first, I want my strike to be the end. Like,
right, you want to know this is the game.
Like that's why,
move.
If you notice when I play Risk, like when you guys would go after me, what I'll do is I'll go until I get Europe again.
Yeah.
And then I'll stop there because I want to wait until I have a giant army.
Yeah, which is sensible. But this game really. At a certain point, it wants you to go out and hit each other.
No, it did, and that's why I didn't think I was going to win because the Garrett, the guy who took the center, his ships were good, were very good. Like I had some good upgrades, but I had no ships. So maybe if I got some ships in, it just doesn't. I don't it just becomes a whole. I like the idea of getting points from just researching and just having my place.
Right, yeah. You enjoy the, I'm having fun. Look at my ships. They're cool. Let's just hang out. Although there's now alliances where you can actually, in the expansion, you can actually win with another person.
Well, that's actually what we did to end the game.
But even then, it's like, I just feel like it's so meaningless when it's not like I feel like in something like Cosmic Encounter, which is all about negotiation, In this, it's just for show. Like, yeah, let's.
Well, because you can also backstab them.
Because
like,
at some point you just know one of you is going to turn on the other. Like, it's inevitable. So why even pretend? To me, that's I don't know. That's a thing. We can talk about it. That's something we can talk about more in depth later. In general, later.
Can't wait to hear all the angry comments about how we're totally.
There won't be any. Nobody cares. Like I said, I don't think it's a bad game, just not for me. But that's Eclipse. That's going to bring it to an end for this week. Hope you enjoyed it. If you have thoughts about games that we talked about, such as Eclipse, Secrets of the Lost Tomb, I would honestly love to hear it. I would love to hear other people's counter arguments, things like that.
It's 10 for a reason.
It's 10 for a reason, apparently.
Maybe if there's also other Essen games that, of course, we missed because, like we said, 600.
Yeah.
That you're excited about,
or by the time this is out, maybe or that you're watching this, you've already seen some of the stuff from Essen, or if you were there, let us know. And you can do so by leaving a comment right on this video or emailing us, rollforcrit@gmail.com.
And of course, it's Twitter @rollforcrit and our personal Twitters.
And you can find all our videos, podcasts, and more at rollforcrit.com.
All of them?
All of them, most of them. Where we also sell games, including Eclipse and many, many others. Great deals, great prices. If you haven't tried out Pandemic or Risk Legacy or Mice and Mystics, you want to get the scoop before Cult Express, you can find them all there, rollforcrit.com. But thanks for watching. It's a pretty exciting episode.
Oh yeah, we'll see what happens later on. I'm Will Keeler.
I'm Jonathan Estes, and this has been Roll for Crit. You know what we didn't do?
What?
Mention the fact that it's Halloween at all.